Hello, hello, I'm Joe Parlock, tabletop editor for The Gamer, and today we are looking at the latest Magic the Gathering set, Wilds of Eldraine. Wizards of the Coast sent me these packs to open, and it's a really cool set. You know, I've been to the pre-release, I've played a few drafts of it, it's a good time. So for anyone who doesn't know, Wilds of Eldraine is the second set that's set on Eldraine. It's a fantasy fairy tale world with trolls, gingerbread knights, normal knights, all those fairy tale good stuff things that we love so much from the original Eldraine. We're going to work our way up. We're going to start with the draft booster. We're going to go straight the way through the set booster, then to the collector's booster, and hope to God that we pull, you know, Altar, Smothering Tithe, Ristic Study, Land Tax, anything like that. That would be lovely. So the cool thing about this set, other than the fairy tale theme, is that it comes with enchantment reprints called the Enchanted Tales. And these aren't legal in Standard, these aren't legal anywhere that they're not already legal. But it gives you a chance to get some enchantments that just never really get a reprint, like Ristic Study, like Smothering Tithe, like Land Tax. So let's hope we get some of them. The first card we got is Kellen's Lightblades. It's got Bargain, and Bargain's one of the new mechanics from Wilds of Eldraine. Basically, you just sacrifice an artifact, an enchantment, or a token, and you get an extra effect. It's Kicker. I know that's a bit of a meme, but it's Kicker. Grabby Giant. Coming back from Throne of Eldraine is the Adventure mechanic. And a lot of people get really confused about Adventure. Basically, all it is this is two cards in one. You can either play Grabby Giant for 3 generic and a red, and then it's 4 through the reach, or before you do that, you can pay 1 generic and 1 red to cast That's Mine as an instant spell, and then it goes to exile, and then from exile, you can play the Grabby Giant for the same cost. It's 2 cards in one. I really like Adventure. I think it's a neat mechanic. This one, it's fine. It's making a treasure token for 2 mana. Cool. It does help reduce the cost of playing Grabby Giant later on, but in the long run, does it really? I don't know. Conceited Witch. Cool, so the adventure on this one is Price of Beauty, and it has, you create a Wicked Roll token. One of the big things from this set is roll tokens. They're enchantment aura tokens, which I don't believe we've seen before. I think the only enchantment tokens we've seen were the shards from Coldheim. The Wicked Roll token, I believe, is +1/+1, and you Scry 1? Something like that. They all give you +1/+1, and the idea is that you can only put 1 roll on a creature at a time. If you put more than 1 on it, the older one goes to the graveyard, then it gets exiled, and yada yada yada. It's a neat mechanic. It's a little bit difficult to track. I found at the pre-release we were all sort of scrabbling for the tokens, but you know, in stuff like Arena, it's not going to be a problem, and it is a lot of fun. Ferocious Werefox. This one makes a monster token instead. I think there's 6 rolls in Wilds of Eldraine. This one gets +1/+1 and has Trample, so it's not bad. And you can decide which creature you control to put the token on it. So you got a big old stompy thing that you want to get through blockers, just turn it into a monster. It's fine. Snare Master Sprite, 1 generic, 1 blue, sorry, for a fairy wizard. Part of the white-blue archetype in this set is tapping down your opponent's creatures, putting stun counters on them. It's a very control-heavy archetype, which we haven't, I don't believe we've seen in Limited for quite a while. It's funny because like, oh, it was in Phyrexia, idiot. But I can't remember the last time we had just like something as blatantly control as tap everything down, freeze them out, which I really like. I think it's a neat archetype. Armory Mouse, Celebration. We're getting all of the new mechanics in this pack. Celebration, simple enough. It's just as long as 2 permanents enter the battlefield under your control, you've celebrated and you get to do extra things. In Armory Mouse's case, it gets +0/+2 This does a surprising amount of work in Limited, especially with like the roll tokens and food tokens and all of those. There's a lot of tokens in this set, and they all count towards celebration, so you just make a couple of them, bish bash bosh. Your Armory Mouse is now a 3/3. Candy Trail. Oh, this caused me problems at the pre-release. So a big part of Eldraine in general is that Throne of Eldraine, the first Eldraine set, introduced food tokens. You pay 2 generic, you tap them and sacrifice them to gain 3 life. Wilds of Eldraine is bringing them back in. The idea is to expand how you use them. So for example, you've got Candy Trail, which is just, it's not a token artifact, it's just a plain old food clue, which is weird. You would think, considering the whole point of clues is that you can sacrifice them to draw a card, this would let you draw a card, but it just lets you scry. I was like, no, it does let you draw a card. Reading the card, am I right? It's neat. I remember one person I played against at the pre-release, they got value out of this. It is a lot better than it first seems. It's 1 generic, so you can get it out turn 1, and you're set up for your next 2-3 turns. Catcher Trainee. The black-red theme of Wilds of Eldraine is rat typal, so you're making lots of rat tokens, you're rushing them down, you're sacrificing them for bargain effects because you can use any sort of token. It's a fun archetype, it's what I played at my pre-release, and it works surprisingly well. Catcher Trainee isn't one that I pulled to put in my deck, but yeah, it has first strike, so for as long as it's your turn. So for a 2/1 with first strike on your second turn, that's not bad. And you can make 2 black rat creature tokens with it. Aquatic Alchemist. Such a, like, this is like the least Eldraine art, but I love it. Like, look at that guy. Look at that absolute alchemical guy. Bubble Up, again, it's another sort of control-y, mid-rangey, grindy effect, because you can just put an instant or sorcery back on top of your graveyard, back on top of your library, sorry. The red-blue archetype in this is Spell Slinger, because of course it is. Disdainful Stroke, it's a classic. I think it's already in Standard. I think this is the second time it's in Standard. So, it's going to be there for a lot longer, of course. This set was designed before Wizards decided to expand Standard by a year. So, I can't remember what set. I think it might have actually been Phyrexia. So, I guess the idea was to put this in so it was there for another year once Phyrexia rotated out. But it's a solid counterspell, and it works particularly well in this limited environment against the red-green, which is all about big 4 mana value creatures and power and all them. Stone Splitter Bolt. It's just a simple burn spell with bargain. X cost, so if you can get a lot of mana, you can just win the game with it. Can't throw it at someone's face, but I mean, there are ways in this set to turn anything into throwing it at your face, like Imodane the Pyrohammer, for example. Charade of Numbing Depths. 2 generic, 1 white, 1 blue from Merfolk Wizard. This is the signpost for the white-blue archetype. Like I said, it's all about tapping things down, it's all about putting stun counters on them, freezing them. It's a decent commander. It's one that I've considered building since it was revealed, but we haven't seen a whole lot of stun counters. I think they were introduced in Dominaria United, which was a year ago now, and we've not seen a massive amount of it. So, I suppose with Proliferate in Phyrexia and all them, it could work. I don't know. I think it's a neat card. I don't know whether it's neat enough. Our rare is Ingenious Prodigy. It's got Skulk, which isn't a mechanic you see a lot of anymore. Like, I think this has to be the first time in quite a while that Skulk's come back. This creature can't be blocked by a creature with greater power, so as long as you keep it small, it could just barrel through anything. You could just keep it as a 0/1 and find effects that trigger on combat damage, and then you could just, unless someone's got another 0, and even then it doesn't matter, you can just slip it through unblocked forever. You can remove the more one counter to draw a card though, so that's you can get card advantage from it, but then it's more easily blocked. It's a really neat design. I dig it. Oh, Garruk's Uprising. This is our Enchanted Tales reprint. Garruk's Uprising is a classic 2 generic 1 green. When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you draw a card. Creatures you control have trample, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. I run this in basically every green deck I have. I love a Garruk's Uprising. It's card advantage, it's getting damage through, it's big stompy. There's nothing not to love about this, other than the fact it isn't a land tax. But what can you do? And our land is a swamp. It's not the full out swamp, but it's still a very pretty swamp. Oh, here we go, here's the tokens. So, let's just grab a random creature. The idea is, you have a creature out, say you put a monster on it. It looks really slick. I like, when they revealed it, I thought this whole flippy situation was very confusing, but now that we've had a chance to play with it and see more of it, I think it's really slick. It's a really slick design, and I do hope we see more of roles in the future. Right, now that we've had a little introduction to Eldraine, set booster time. Set boosters are the slightly fancier. They cost a little bit more than a draft booster, but you get more art styles. You get fewer cards, but you get more bling, basically. You also get these art cards. So this is for Will, Sound of Peace. I like the art cards. I know a lot of people just sort of chuck them away, but I collect them. I keep hold of them. I think they're really nice. There's the forest. Root Rider Fawn. This is a card that we got to reveal on the Gamer. It is a really good mana dork. You can just tap it for a green, or you can just filter any mana through it for any colour. It's really good mana smoothing in limited. In constructed, it's good, but I think it would be particularly better when you partner it up with Tyvar from March of the Machine Aftermath, because then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's neat. It is a neat common. Another neat common is Evolving Wilds, back for the billionth time. It's an Evolving Wilds. What else can I say about it? It smooths your mana, it lets you get any colour you want. I kind of wish they'd put a reprint of Fable Passage in Wilds of Eldraine, because I think that was the original Throne of Eldraine. We've just never seen it again. So it would have been nice to have Fable Passage, because the upside of that one is that you can get the land to enter untapped. But Evolving Wilds. Toadstool Admirer. It's an oof. I think oofs were ones that we'd only really seen in Lorwyn, I want to say. Probably completely wrong about that. We hadn't seen oofs in Eldraine before, as far as I'm aware. So seeing them pop up here is interesting. I don't hate it. I like oofs. And you can pay 4 to put a 1/1 counter on Toadstool Admirer. So you just get enough mana, you can make this thing absolutely massive. Embers Recruiter. So one of the big things about adventures in Wilds of Eldraine is that, unlike in Throne of Eldraine, they're multicoloured, or they can be multicoloured. So for this one, it's either 2 generic and 1 red to play Embers Recruiter, or it's 4 generic and 1 white to play Trained Troops, which makes 2 white night creature tokens with vigilance. And then the best thing is you play that, then you play the other side. When Embers Recruiter enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste. So if you've got 7 mana, one of them red and one of them white, you can swing in with 3 3/3s, which ain't bad. Embers Veteran. Embers Veteran does work in this limited environment. It's a 2/1 for 1 red with no downside, which never happens, ever. And then you can sacrifice it to put a young hero roll token on something, which just buffs up another creature the more you attack with it. It's great. This is a great card. Monstrous Rage, another great card. +2/+0 until end of turn, and you put a monster roll token on it. So it's a +3/+1, effectively, for 1 red. Like, I know Throne of Eldraine was like infamously pushed, but this is the good stuff. We're getting a lot of red. Boundary Lands Ranger. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. It's fine. It fits in nicely with the power 4 or greater red-green archetype. It's hand advantage. It's a way to get stuff in your graveyard if you need it. It's decent. It's not going to do much work elsewhere, but it's a thing. Baby. Oh my god. Moonshaker Cavalry, 5 generic, 3 white. Spirit Knight, 6/6. Flying. When Moonshaker Cavalry enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain flying and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. Famously, when this card was revealed, it was called the White Crater Hoof Behemoth, an absolute staple in Commander, with a big green finisher. This does it in white. This is going in my Preston the Vanisher Commander deck. Absolutely. Oh baby. That is a pull. That is a pull and a half. I love the flavor text on it as well. High King Kenrith's armies followed him into the afterlife, ready to charge at his command. You know, King Kenrith was a character in Throne of Eldraine who died in March the Machine, so it's a nice little like final goodbye from him with an absolute beast of a card. Oh, I'm happy about that. That's very nice. Okay, the next one is our Enchanted Tales reprint. Ground Seal. When Ground Seal enters the battlefield, draw a card. Cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or abilities. It's fine, it shuts down graveyard strategies, which sometimes you need, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it can bite you, because, you know, green is a very graveyard heavy colour, especially when you partner it with black. It's a decent card. It's not the best in the Enchanted Tales reprints, but yeah, who cares? I got a Moonshaker Cavalry. Oh, we got a second one. Hatching Plans. Surprisingly, even less useful than Ground Seal. 1 generic and 1 blue. When it's put into the graveyard, you draw 3 cards. It's only worth it if you've got a free way of getting rid of it. Because it costs 2 mana to cast, so you need to find another way to get rid of it, so you're paying more mana into it, and just draw 3 cards. It's good insurance with a board wipe, I guess, but Our foil, Hopeless Nightmare. This did work for me at the pre-release. Nice foil. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. I played this in the pre-release. My opponent had to mulligan down to 6, and then turn 1 I played this. Before I was on the play, they hadn't even drawn for their turn yet, and they were down to 5 cards, and I won pretty quickly. The best thing is when it's put in the graveyard, you scry 2, and you've got a way to get rid of it, unlike Hatching Plans. This is a good card. This is neat. And the token is just an add card for Arena. Oh man, that Moonshaker Cavalry. Okay, time for the big one. Collector's Booster. Collector Boosters are the most expensive type. They're all foil. You have chances to get exclusive treatments in them. All sorts of things. Also, weirdly, I believe they're printed in a different facility from regular ones. I'm sure I've been told once that Collector's Boosters are printed in Japan instead of the US. I could be completely making that up. So, first off, we've got the foil food token. Double-sided. Really nice. I believe the Nightmare goes with the Ashiok Planeswalker card. Is that the Japanese? Yeah, it is. So the Enchanted Tales reprints, they've got regular editions, like Hatching Plans. They've also got the Japanese alt art, because they really like putting Japanese alt art in things lately. Like, they've done it since Kamigawa. And sometimes they've been really good, like Kamigawa, like this set. Sometimes they've been more Jumpstart 2022-y and not as good. But I really like these ones. I think they're neat. I really want this Smothering Tithe one with the lady doing the anime laugh. Like, it's so camp. I love it. Repercussion is a really good card. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, Repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller. Force Fruition. I used to run this in my Quain Itinerant Meddler deck. I had a Consecrated Sphinx, I had a Force Fruition, they play a spell, I draw 14 cards. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, they draw 7. It is a massive double-edged sword because you're probably giving them the way to win. But if you have anything like Smothering Ties, like a Consecrated Sphinx, anything that rewards you for opponents drawing cards, it's bomb. Elusive Otter. Look at that boy. 1 blue, prowess. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Creatures with power less than Elusive Otter's power can't block it. So it's a reverse Skulk. Then the adventure is Grove's Bounty, which just puts 1/1 counters on stuff. This is the Altar Storybook Showcase frame. Really, really nice. So the cool thing with collector boosters is that you can sometimes get the exclusive cards from the commander decks. This is one of them. This is Tegwills Scouring. 4 generic, 2 black. You can cast Tegwills Scouring as though it had flash by tapping 3 untapped creatures you control with flying in addition to paying its other costs. Destroy all creatures, create 3 1/1 black fairy rogue creature tokens with flying. So it's a possible instant speed board wipe, which is pretty rare. It's very expensive. 6 mana and tapping down 3 creatures, which you're then going to destroy, is very expensive. But, again, instant speed. Someone coming at you with 100 creatures, who needs to settle the wreckage when you've got Tegwills Scouring? Elvis Archivist. Whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, you put 2 1/1 counters on Elvis Archivist. It's fine. I think this card is a little bit of a whiff rare, to be honest. It does stuff sometimes, but it's only once per turn. Like, it's that this triggers only once each turn clause yet again. It's fine. It's a fine card, but could be better. Foil Stab Wound. That's nice. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. At the beginning of upkeep of Enchanted creature controller, that player loses 2 life. Put it on an indestructible, put it on something that can't be sacrificed somehow. There are cards that stop you from sacrificing stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do to keep Stab Wound in play, and it would just drain them for the rest of the game. Just to know, indestructible doesn't stop -2/-2, so you need something bigger than that, but it just means they can't destroy it or block with it to get rid of it. There are ways to make this evil, is what I'm saying. Raid, we are getting all of the Enchanted Tales. Raid Bombardment. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, Raid Bombardment deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. It's good in Goblin decks. That's the only thing I know this card from, is any sort of Goblin or red aggro. Anything that likes lots of little creatures really likes Raid Bombardment. Hey, that's one of the full art swamps. These are actual photos for the record. These are real shadow boxes that Harry and Deepti made. And then they took the photos of them, put them on the card, and they look gorgeous. I think these... Do I want to say these are my favourite full art lands? They're up there. They are up there with the new Capenna ones, and they're up there with the Dominaria United ones. I do really like these. Star on the commons and uncommons. So come to the cold. It's one of the white, blue, tap things down cards. Put a stun counter on each of them. You can tap up to 2 creatures. That's not bad. Ingenious Recruiter. We've already seen this one, but this is in foil, so it's nicer. Neva Stalked by Nightmares. So the white-black theme of this set is putting enchantments in your graveyard. It's enchantments putting into your graveyard, triggering off that. It's meant to work with the roll system, because when you put more than one roll on one creature, the oldest one goes to the graveyard. So you're doing a lot of that with Neva. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature or enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever enchantment I control is put into the graveyard, I put 1/1 counter on Neva, then scry 1. Johan's Stopgap. Bargain. Costs 2 less if it's bargained, and then you just bounce something back to its hand and draw a card. It's an Into the Royal or an Unsummon or any of those, but with the set mechanic in it. It's neat. It's a good card, as long as you've got a way to bargain it. If you don't have a way to bargain it, I think Fading Hope, Fading Light, one from Midnight Hunt is probably still going to be played more, to be honest. Edgewall Pact. This is another one that did banger at my pre-release. Menace, so it can't be blocked by unless it's blocked by 2 or more creatures. And when it enters, you make a rat token. So not only does your opponent have to find ways to block the dog, he also has to find ways to block the rat. It's good. It's a really good card in Limited. I don't think it's going to see play constructed at all, but yeah, not every card needs to be constructed viable. Sleight of Hand. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other one on the bottom of your library. Turn 1 this is really good. I mean, any turn this is really good, but especially turn 1. Because you're always wanting to... It always guarantees card advantage. Well, not card advantage. Card quality. It means you're always drawing what you need rather than just, oh no, I've got another land when I've got 6 lands. It's a good card. Like, if you can play Sleight of Hand turn 1, play Sleight of Hand turn 1. Hollow Scavenger. We haven't had a whole lot of food cards yet, but this one fits into the food archetype. So you've got like Bakery Raid, which makes a food token for 1 green, which ain't bad, to be honest. And then you've also got the normal ability, which can sacrifice a food to give Hollow Scavenger +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Like I said, this set has lots of ways of using food in different ways than just gaining life, which I think is something we've desperately needed for a while, because we've had food show up in other sets since Throne of Eldraine. We've had it in... It was a big part of Modern Horizons 2. It was a big part of Lord of the Rings. I think this is the first time it's back in Standard, off the top of my head. Might have had a show in New Capenna, possibly. But yeah, having more ways to use food than just gaining life is very nice. And that's it. So I think, obviously, the big walloping man card from here is Moonshaker Cavalry. I'm also really happy about that repercussion. I'm also, to be honest, I'm also happy about the Garruk's Uprising, because you can't have too many of those. Like, I know every time I make a commander deck, I'm like, I'm going to put Garruk's Uprising in it, and then I found out I've used all of my Garruk Uprisings in my other decks, and it's a problem. Oh, what a set! I've been Joe Perlup, tabletop editor for The Gamer. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to remember to check The Gamer for all of our other Wilds of Eldraine stuff. We've got lists, we've got what the most valuable cards are, we've got how to play it in Limited, we've got what the best commanders are. We're doing so much Wilds of Eldraine stuff. It's a really fun set. and I will see you next time.